If you are seeing this video, then I am officially incarcerated. I'm actually behind there, right there, in the federal prison. So if you're watching this, I'm in jail.
He seemed thrilled about that development in his life. That was Owen Shroyer, the InfoWars host, who got sentenced to 60 days behind bars for his role in the insurrection. Now he reported to prison on October 25th. He did not enter the Capitol itself, as he loves to repeat and make sure everybody knows. He did, however, lead other Donald Trump supporters to the building and in chants at the top of the steps, and then he pled guilty to misdemeanor charge of illegally entering a restricted area. He also previously had a stay away order from the Capitol. He wasn't allowed to be on that ground regardless because of a previous incident where he was harassing members of Congress. But that's not why we're covering him today, though. He's been placed in solitary confinement for the second time already in the early days of his sentencing. So the first time he was put in solitary was standard practice for the prison. From Newsweek, on October 25th, it was announced on @OwenShroyer1776. Of course, it had to be 1776. An account attributed to Shroyer on Twitter that the presenter had been temporarily placed in solitary confinement at the Federal Correctional Institution, Oakdale, in Louisiana, per ongoing COVID-19 safety protocols. So, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene, lover of crimes and criminals, tweeted this: "COVID is over." Interesting. This is absurd. Now, obviously, of course, she didn't believe in COVID in the first place, so it was always over for her. But the pandemic has been declared finished by the Biden administration. COVID isn't gone. You can definitely still catch it. I actually know a lot of people who have COVID right now. So if you haven't gotten the booster and you're able to, please go get the booster as well as your flu shot. Protect yourself this winter season and maintain your sense of smell. Because people lose that forever sometimes after they get COVID. And I think we all want to be able to enjoy the taste of foods for good portion of the rest of our lives. Now the tweet from Marjorie Taylor, the tweet from the account is saying that he's going to be in solitary for 5 days due to the intake protocol, and that he would be released on the 30th, just a few days ago. But immediately after, on Halloween, the account posted an audio file that appears to have been recorded through a prison. I'm sorry, I just had to prepare myself to give you this information. Recorded through a prison call where he teases for his fans this.
This call is from a federal prison.
Even though my time on the phone will be limited, I will be using it efficiently to try to reach out and send as many messages to you as possible. I do hope to pull the impossible and maybe something that's never been done before, hosting a radio show from a federal prison. But we'll work on that as I learn the flow of my life now on the outside.
After this, he was put back in solitary confinement. We can't confirm whether or not it was related to attempting to start a podcast from prison. Here's a tweet from the account. It says, "For reasons that are currently not 100% understood, Owen has been forced back into solitary confinement as of yesterday. You're keeping updates to a minimum until further notice." I gotta say, Brett, I've had family members in prison. I've made those prison phone calls. The idea that it's like a good use of those limited calls that you get to be recording a podcast is, I gotta monetize my 60 days in prison. I gotta get something out of it. It's so silly, and you just know they're gonna gobble it up. The audience is gonna be so receptive.
Listen, Mandela went to prison and now he's a hero. Joke's on you, Ray.
Right.
Joke's on you. And see, when he was called a villain by the government, and now he's revered as a hero. These are the same basic principles. And no, that's obviously a joke. Guys, he's in jail for 2 months. He's talking about it like it's 20 years.
Right.
Like he's going to prison for 60 days and he gets 2 minutes at a time to do his phone call. And so even if he uses every 60 days, Every day of those 60 days to do is 2 minutes. That's like a 2-hour podcast episode. Like, and what are you gonna share with us? Only that you're in prison and you are now like living with this victim martyr complex, which you're trying to leverage into some kind of more lucrative setup, as InfoWars itself is not allowed to hide all its money anymore. And so maybe you're doing the good work of trying to help Alex Jones out as he has to pay your salary to the settlement.
I just want to have it on the record now that if I ever go to jail, I don't want to be taken out of rotation for potential hosts for the damage report when John is taking off. You could just do what we did for that for that phone call. Just put a picture of a phone, I don't know, Photoshop some blonde hair on it and some glasses, and just let me host the show from jail. We can continue on as as per usual. The episodes will be a lot shorter, but you know what? Yeah, I think we can make it work. All right, one last thing about this story, equally as ridiculous as the first half, is that apparently he's been receiving a lot of fan mail. Now, he did publish his contact info at the jail. So if any of you want to send him a letter, letting him know what you think, here is that tweet from his account. Here's how you can reach Owen while he's away. Owen greatly appreciates anyone who takes the time to contact him during this time. We ask you to please respect the rules and regulations of the facility that can be seen here. Brett, like you said, he's only there for 60 days, right? I mean, some of these letters won't even get to him before he's out of jail. Like it is, they are pretending that this is hard time. I mean, he did a crime, right? And he was, again, not supposed to even be near the Capitol because of that previous stay away order. It's just, they are so capitalizing on this. It's funny because there are people who were involved in the insurrection, particularly in planning it, who are doing hard time. They're in for years, over a decade for some of them. But Owen Shroyer is somehow the most victimized January 6th convict, despite, again, being there to record apparently 1.25 episodes of the damage report worth of a podcast.
So good, so good.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.